to our thesis advisor, Professor Amity Moranya, to all the panelists, to our co-presenters. I am Gemaline F. Tumpang, and I would like to greet you all a pleasant morning, everyone. We will be presenting our proposed study entitled Tourism Industry in Baras, Catanduanes during COVID-19 Pandemic and Assessment, together with my group mates, Ms. Eliza Taroma, Ms. Sofia Isabel Melgar, and Mr. Christian Vilches. For the background of the study and related literature and studies, we have Ms. Eliza Taroma. For the statement of the problem, the presenter will be Mr. Christian V. Vilches. Let's move forward to the significance and scope of the studies. Here is Ms. Sofia Isabel R. Melgar.
Hello everyone, I am Eliza Taroma for Background of the Study and Related Literature. Background of the Study. Tourism is one of the most important sectors in the global economy, significantly contributing to the world's GDP or gross domestic product. The tourism sector is a major source of employment globally, which is a labor-intensive industry. In the global economy, tourism plays a prominent role in economic development, and the increase in tourism industry may positively influence economic growth. A significant number of previous scholars have considered the considerable task of a tourism industry in economic development. The COVID-19 pandemic situation badly hit the economic development of almost all countries in the world. It caused the largest downfall of the economy in history. Related literature. The World Trade Organization forecasts that trade activities may drop by 32% in 2020. The poor economic performance occurs due to weak demand, supply chain disruptions, travel restrictions, and the lockdown policy, which are preventive actions to further spread of the virus. Those restrictions may pose pressure on the economic growth of the world. The International Labour Organization estimates the impact of COVID-19 pandemic increased global unemployment between 5.3 million to 24.7 million. Also, according to the World Bank, the global tourism sector accounts for more than 10% of the global GDP and 30% of the world's export services. Among all segments in the economy, tourism is one of the main sectors which impact the economy as many governments impose travel restrictions, travel bans, shutting down airports, and mass passenger cancellation. Thus, the tourism industry costs a loss of over $820 billion in revenue globally due to COVID-19 pandemic. The leisure, travel, and inbound tourism activities designated a steeper drop, causing $2.86 trillion losses that made up of 50% plus loss in revenues.
Hi, I am Christian Vilches, and I'm going to discuss about the statement of the problem and the importance of the study. To further discuss the content of our study, we have 4 statements of the problem. This aims to know the tourism industries in Baras, Catanduanes during COVID-19 pandemic. Those statements of the problems are: Number 1. What are the impacts of COVID-19 pandemic to the tourism industries in Baras, Catanduanes in terms of income, employee, and the number of tourist arrivals? Number 2. What are the challenges encountered by the respondents in terms of imposing health protocols and sufficient salary? So, our research also concerned on what challenges encountered by our respondents during this pandemic in imposing health protocols, because it was really important in such a places like tourist spots because they are prone in many people. So the imposing of health protocols can save everyone from getting infected by the COVID virus. What are the guidelines of tourism industries in allowing visitors in terms of age, vaccination card, nationality, or locality? Lastly, number 4. What are the proportion of tourism industries in Baras Catanduanes has development amidst the pandemic? Those are the statement of the problem of our research that aims to give knowledgeable information about the effect of COVID-19 pandemic to the tourism industries in Baras Catanduanes.
I am in front of you again to discuss the significance and scope of the study. So the first question is, why did we choose the place of Baras as our research? So as we all know that the Baras is one of the municipalities with the largest number of tourist attraction and one of the major tourist destinations in the Catanduanes or in Happy Islands. But because of the crisis brought by the COVID-19 pandemic, many tourist destinations are closed and the employees in some tourist spots experience a hard time in imposing health protocols to ensure the safety of visitors and also themselves. And also we chose Baras because we wanted to know the current condition of tourism industry for almost 2 years of being under the crisis brought by the COVID-19 pandemic, and the study is restricted only for the municipality of Baras and only on the tourism industry.
I am Jemalyn F. Tumpang, and let me discuss to you the research design and methodology. This research employed a descriptive study because survey questionnaire is used to assess the tourism industry during COVID-19 pandemic in Baras, Catanduanes. The researchers made questions in order to know the status of tourism industry in Baras, Catanduanes during COVID-19 pandemic. The sources of data. The data in this study will be gathered from Baras, Catanduanes. This study covered selected staff and workers from different tourist spots from Baras, Catanduanes with a total number of 116. There are 6 tourist spots in Baras, Catanduanes, namely Puraran Beach Resort with a total population of 5, Abihaw Point 48, Binurong Point 32, Estancia Di Benedicto 6, Macatal Falls with a total population of 5, Oro Azul 20. The total is 116. From each tourist spot, the researchers selected 5 responded from each tourist spot. The study utilized 2 sources of data, the primary and secondary sources of data. The primary source of data came from the responses of the workers from the tourist spot with the use of questionnaire. They became as the primary source of the data because they were the focus of the study. On the other hand, the secondary sources of data were books, related literature and studies, office forms, and articles from the internet. They were utilized as a strong basis and a guide in developing and formulating this research work. Let's move forward to the sampling technique. The researcher will use simple random sampling to have an equal probability for choosing respondents. To have an unbiased presentation of a group, the researcher selects 5 respondents from each tourist spots. The researcher will create a random sample using random draws wherein the researchers draw the name of the respondents in a bowl. For the instrumentation and validation. The instrument that will be used in this study is survey questionnaire. The survey questionnaire is used to assess the tourism industry during COVID-19 pandemic in Baras, Catanduanes. The researchers made questions in order to know the status of tourism industry in Baras, Catanduanes during COVID-19 pandemic. Part 1 is a 10-item Likert scale. It is a type of scale that asks respondents to indicate the level that the respondents was affected. Generally from very high, which is equivalent to 5, above average, which is equivalent to 4, average, equivalent to 3, below average, equivalent to 2, and very low, which is equivalent to 1. It is used for assessing the tourism industry in Baras, Catanduanes during COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you for listening to our virtual presentation entitled Tourism Industry in Baras, Catanduanes during COVID-19 Pandemic and Assessment. The room is now open for questions, suggestions, and recommendations. That would be all. Thank you.